My brothers and sisters, in life, you will face moments where those you trusted most will hurt you. People you stood by, people you believed in, may one day turn their backs on you. They may betray you, abandon you, or speak ill of you. And when that happens, your heart aches in ways you never imagined. But I want you to remember something very important. When people betray you, Allah never will. You see, betrayal is not the end of your story. It is a chapter written by the Almighty to teach you who truly holds your heart together. People change, they forget, they disappoint. But Allah remains constant. Al-Wali, your protector, your guardian, your closest ally. When the world turns away, Allah turns towards you. When every door closes, He opens one you didn't even know existed. When you cry alone in the night, He hears every tear before it even falls. So don't let the betrayal of people make you bitter. Let it make you closer to your Lord. Instead of saying, why did they do this to me? Say, Ya Allah, what do you want me to learn from this? Because every betrayal carries a message that your reliance should never be on creation, but on the Creator. Sometimes Allah removes people from your life to protect you from what you cannot see. What feels like rejection is often Allah's redirection. What feels like loss is often His mercy disguised. And when you feel that pain in your chest, that tightness that makes it hard to breathe, fall into sujood. Speak to Allah. Tell Him everything. You don't need fancy words, just a sincere heart. Say, Ya Allah, you know what they've done, you know how I feel, but I trust you. I know you are my protector. And watch how He replaces your pain with peace, your tears with strength, your loneliness with light. My brothers and sisters, never forget, your value was never in the hands of people. They may betray you, but they cannot break you, not when Allah is holding you. They may walk away, but the one who wrote your story remains with you every step of the way. So forgive them, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Leave their judgment to Allah. He is Al-Adl, the most just, and He will never let a wrong go unrighted. Walk with your head high, knowing that you have a protector greater than all of creation. People may betray you, but Allah will never abandon you. Betrayal is one of the most painful experiences a person can endure. It pierces the heart in a way that words cannot fully describe. The closer the person, the deeper the wound. Sometimes it comes from a friend you trusted, sometimes from family, sometimes from someone you helped and stood by. And when it happens, it shakes your world. You begin to question yourself, your worth, and even your past decisions. But the truth is, betrayal is not a sign that your life has fallen apart. It is one of life's greatest tests, designed by Allah to strengthen you, to realign your focus, and to purify your heart from depending too much on people. When people betray you, it does not mean you are weak or naive. It means you had a heart sincere enough to trust, to love, and to care. That sincerity itself is something precious in the eyes of Allah. The pain you feel is a reminder that your heart was never meant to find full security in human beings, because human beings are flawed. They promise and forget, they love and then turn away. They speak words that change with time. Allah, on the other hand, never changes. His love, His mercy, and His protection are constant. Every time someone betrays you, Allah is teaching you not to build your peace on something temporary. In the Qur'an, Allah tells us the stories of prophets who faced betrayal not from strangers, but from those closest to them. The Prophet Yusuf, Joseph, peace be upon him, was betrayed by his own brothers. They plotted against him out of jealousy and threw him into a well. Imagine that level of betrayal from the very people who were supposed to protect him. Yet Yusuf did not lose his faith. He did not say, why me? He continued to believe that Allah had a plan even when he could not see it. Years later, Allah raised him to a position of honor and reunited him with his family. The betrayal was not the end. It was part of the journey to greatness. When betrayal comes your way, know that Allah is testing the strength of your heart and the depth of your trust in Him. It is easy to have faith when everything is going well, when people are kind, and when life is smooth. But true faith appears when the people you counted on turn away and you still say, Alhamdulillah. It appears when your heart breaks and you still whisper, Allah is enough for me. That is the faith that raises your rank in the sight of your Lord. That is the faith that transforms pain into spiritual growth. Sometimes betrayal exposes what was hidden. You may have been surrounded by people who pretended to care, but deep down their intentions were not pure. Allah allows betrayal to uncover their reality. It is His way of cleaning your circle, of removing what is harmful even when you cannot see it yet. You might wonder why someone would hurt you after all you did for them. But remember, not everyone has the same heart as you. Some people use kindness as a convenience and loyalty as a mask. Allah, in His wisdom, reveals them through their actions, not to break you, but to protect you from future harm. In those moments of betrayal, your heart may cry out for justice. You may want to explain yourself, to defend your name, or to prove your innocence. But there will be times when the best response is silence. Allah is your witness. He saw what happened. He knows the truth, even when the world believes lies. Trust that the one who watches everything will bring justice in His own time and His own way. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ himself was betrayed by his people, mocked and driven out of his home. Yet he remained patient, relying completely on Allah. Eventually Allah gave him victory and honor far greater than he could have imagined. Betrayal also teaches humility. It reminds you that no one is beyond being tested. The same way others betrayed you, you could have been in their place had Allah not guided your heart. This realization softens you. Instead of hatred, you begin to feel pity for those who wronged you, because in betraying you, they have wronged their own souls. Allah is watching and His justice is perfect. When you leave your pain in His hands, He replaces it with something far greater peace. In truth, betrayal can become one of the most transformative experiences of your life if you respond with patience and faith. It pushes you to detach from what is temporary and to seek the one who never betrays. Every tear you shed for the sake of Allah, every moment you hold back from revenge, every time you choose forgiveness, when anger burns within you, all of it is recorded by your Lord. Nothing goes unnoticed. Allah says in the Qur'an that He is with the patient. So when you are betrayed, do not see yourself as a victim of people's cruelty. See yourself as a student in Allah's classroom of strength. Through betrayal, Allah often clears your path for something better. You may not see it now, but one day you will look back and thank Him for removing those who were never meant to walk with you. You will realize that the pain that once felt unbearable was actually mercy in disguise. You lost people, but you found Allah. You lost comfort, but you gained clarity. And that is a trade that only the wise heart understands. So, betrayal is not the end of your story. It is a beginning of a deeper connection with your Creator. When people betray you, it is Allah's gentle way of telling you, return to me, I will never betray you. Every wound they cause brings you closer to the one who heals. Every loss they inflict reminds you of the one who never leaves. That is the beauty hidden within betrayal. It strips away illusions so that you may stand face to face with truth, that your protector, your helper, and your ultimate refuge has always been and will always be with attack Allah. Human hearts are fragile. They change with time, with emotion, and with circumstance. A person who once loved you deeply might one day walk away. Someone who promised loyalty might suddenly turn against you. Feelings fade, intentions shift, and relationships that once felt unbreakable can crumble without warning. That is the nature of the human heart. It is constantly changing. But above all this change, above all the uncertainty of human emotion, stands the one whose nature never changes, Allah. His love does not fluctuate. His care does not fade. And His protection does not depend on how others treat you. While people may walk in and out of your life, Allah remains constant, watching over you, guiding you, and protecting you through every storm. In this world, many people place their trust and sense of peace in others. They believe that as long as a certain person is by their side, they are safe. But the moment that person disappoints them, their entire world collapses. This is because they placed their reliance on something unstable. The human heart is like a leaf in the wind. It can sway in any direction. The only heart that never changes is the heart of faith that is connected to Allah. When your heart anchors itself to Him, you become steady even when everything around you shifts. People may love you today and dislike you tomorrow. They may praise you in your presence and criticize you behind your back. They may promise forever but leave when it no longer benefits them. Yet Allah, the most merciful, never treats you based on His benefit. He does not love you because of what you give Him, but because of His infinite mercy. Even when you sin, even when you forget Him, even when you turn away, He still sustains you, feeds you, and waits for you to return. What human being can love you like that? None. It is because of this that Allah reminds us in the Qur'an not to attach our hearts too deeply to creation. He tells us that this world is temporary and that everything in it will perish except His face. This includes the love of people, the support of friends, and the loyalty of companions. When hearts change, you should not be surprised. It is part of Allah's design to remind you that no one deserves your full trust except Him. The moment you realize this, your disappointments become lighter because you no longer expect perfection from imperfect beings. When people turn their backs on you, remember that Allah never turns His back. When they stop answering your calls, know that Allah's door is still open. When they forget you, He still remembers you. Even when the entire world forgets your name, He still hears your whispered prayers in the quiet of the night. That is what it means to have a protector who never changes. His loyalty is eternal, His mercy is infinite, and His companionship is guaranteed for those who seek it. Often when people's hearts change toward you, you might ask yourself, what did I do wrong? But sometimes it's not about what you did, it's about what Allah is doing for you. He removes certain people not to punish you, but to protect you. He knows what is hidden in hearts, and perhaps He saw something you could not see. You may feel hurt now, but later you will realize that Allah's removal was His mercy. He saved you from false love, empty promises, and hidden harm. People change because they are meant to. Allah never changes because He is meant to be your constant. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught us that the hearts of people are between the two fingers of the Most Merciful. He turns them as He wills. This is a reminder that no human loyalty is permanent. The same person who supports you today might oppose you tomorrow if Allah wills. So never place your peace in the hands of people. Love them, yes. Care for them, yes. But never depend on them for your sense of worth. Depend only on the one who owns their hearts. When someone you trusted changes toward you, it hurts, but that pain carries a lesson. Allah is showing you the difference between temporary affection and eternal love. He is teaching you that no matter how close you are to people, you will always need Him more. He wants you to turn to Him, not just in hardship, but in every heartbeat. When you put your trust in Allah, you are trusting the one who will never betray you, never forget you, and never leave you halfway. His promises are true, and His support is everlasting. Many times, we expect people to fill the spaces in our hearts that only Allah can fill. We want them to make us happy, to bring us peace, to protect us from pain. But no one can do that perfectly. People can only give what Allah allows them to give. If you make them your source of happiness, you will always be disappointed. But if you make Allah your source, you will always be content. Because even when people withdraw their affection, Allah's love flows stronger than ever. Think of how many times you have fallen short, how many times you made mistakes, yet Allah still covered your faults. People may expose your flaws after a single disagreement, but Allah conceals them even when you repeatedly sin. People may grow tired of forgiving you, but Allah never tires of forgiving. People may lose interest in you, but Allah's mercy is renewed every morning. He is Al-Hayy, the ever-living, and His care for you never dies. When you realize this, your heart softens. You stop chasing people for approval. You stop fearing their opinions. You stop depending on their validation. You begin to walk with a quiet strength that comes from knowing that even if everyone changes, your Lord remains the same. You smile through betrayal. You find peace in solitude, and you rise after heartbreak because you know the one who holds you never lets go. So when people's hearts change, do not despair. They were never meant to be your constant. The only one who remains unchanged is Allah, the protector of your soul, the healer of your pain, and the guardian of your destiny. When you anchor your heart to Him, you will never be lost. No matter how much the world around you shifts, when people betray you, the pain can feel unbearable. It's as if your chest tightens and your soul trembles. You trusted someone, opened your heart, shared your secrets, gave your time, your care, your loyalty, and in return they broke your trust. In that moment, anger and sadness mix together, and your mind begins to fill with questions. Why me? How could they do this? What did I do to deserve this? But in that very moment of heartbreak, when your soul feels heavy and your heart feels shattered, there is one door that never closes, the door of Allah. It is in that pain that you must learn to turn your pain into prayer. The natural reaction when someone hurts us is to fight back, to defend ourselves, or to seek revenge. It's an instinct of the human ego to want justice immediately, but the believer learns that not every battle is meant to be fought with words or actions. Some battles are meant to be surrendered to Allah. When your heart aches, when you feel abandoned, the most powerful thing you can do is lift your hands and say, Ya Allah, you see what they've done to me. You know my heart. I leave it all to you. That simple act of turning to Allah transforms the pain. It doesn't erase the hurt immediately, but it changes its meaning. It turns your suffering into worship. Every tear that falls while you speak to Allah is a sign of your strength, not your weakness. It is a mark of faith. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Allah is near to the broken-hearted and that He answers the call of those who are wronged. When you cry in front of people, they may grow tired of hearing your pain. But when you cry to Allah, He draws nearer to you. When you make dua from the depths of your heart, when you talk to Him with sincerity, you are no longer just a victim of betrayal. You become a servant of the most merciful, seeking refuge in the safest place possible. Turning pain into prayer means refusing to let betrayal harden your heart. It means saying, I will not allow this wound to make me bitter. I will use it to grow closer to my Lord. It means choosing forgiveness over revenge, not because they deserve it, but because you value your peace. It means realizing that Allah is the only one who truly understands your pain. Even the people closest to you can only comfort you to a certain point. They cannot enter your heart and heal it, but Allah can. He created that heart and He knows exactly what it needs to find peace again. There is something beautiful about talking to Allah when you are hurt. You don't have to explain yourself in perfect words. You don't have to hide your tears. You don't even need to be composed. You can speak to Him with your heart trembling and your voice breaking. You can say, Ya Allah, I'm hurt. I'm lost. I don't know what to do. And Allah listens. He listens with mercy, with compassion, with understanding that no one else can offer. Sometimes you won't see an immediate change in your situation, but you will feel a change within you. The same heart that once felt crushed will start to feel calm. The same pain that once made you cry will become a reason for you to pray. When you turn your pain into prayer, Allah gives you perspective. He allows you to see that not every betrayal is a curse. Sometimes it is a blessing in disguise. Sometimes Allah removes people from your life because they were standing between you and peace. Sometimes He lets you experience betrayal so that you stop depending on people and start depending on Him. If you never felt that pain, you might never have fallen into sujood with such sincerity. You might never have felt that deep, honest connection with your Creator. Pain has a purpose. It breaks the illusion that you can control everything and reminds you that Allah is the only one who truly can. People might say cruel things about you, spread rumors, or twist the truth. You might feel powerless to defend yourself. But when you hand over your pain to Allah, you are never powerless. He is Al-Hakam, the judge, and His justice is perfect. He knows the lies that were spoken, the intentions that were hidden, and the wounds that were inflicted. He will deal with every wrong in His own time. So instead of filling your heart with anger, fill it with dua. Instead of plotting revenge, pray for guidance. Instead of trying to prove yourself to people, prove your patience to Allah. When you choose prayer over bitterness, Allah honors you in ways people never could. He replaces what you lost with something better. He heals your heart so deeply that you look back one day and realize that the betrayal that once broke you actually built you. You begin to thank Allah not only for the good times but also for the pain, because through it He brought you closer to Him. The same tears that once fell out of heartbreak start to fall out of gratitude. Sometimes you'll pray and cry for nights and it will seem like nothing is changing. But don't lose hope. Allah hears every whisper, every sigh, every unspoken thought. He is Al-Sami', the all-hearing, and He never ignores the voice of a sincere heart. Maybe He's delaying the answer because He wants you to keep calling upon Him to strengthen your connection. Maybe He's preparing something better than you asked for. Or maybe He's using your pain to cleanse your soul from arrogance, from attachment, from false hopes, so that when relief finally comes, you receive it with humility and gratitude. So the next time someone betrays you, remember, you have a choice. You can let the pain destroy you, or you can let it drive you toward Allah. Every time your heart hurts, make wudu, stand before your Lord and pour your heart out in sujood. Speak to Him about everything you can't tell anyone else. He already knows, but He loves to hear you say it. That moment of vulnerability before Allah is the moment of your greatest strength. Because when you turn your pain into prayer, you are no longer defined by what people did to you. You are defined by how beautifully you turned back to your Creator. Your worth was never meant to be measured by people's opinions, nor defined by their loyalty or betrayal. When others mistreat you, ignore you, or turn their backs on you, it does not diminish your value in the slightest. Allah knows your intentions, your sincerity, and your struggles. He sees what others cannot see. People may misjudge your silence, your kindness, or your patience, but Allah knows the truth of your heart. He knows the effort you put into doing good, even when no one appreciates it. He knows the pain you endure quietly, the tears you wipe away when no one is watching, and the prayers you whisper in the dark. That is what defines your worth, not what people say or do, but what Allah knows about you. It is one of the hardest lessons in life, to stop seeking validation from people and to find peace in being known by Allah alone. Human approval is temporary. Today they may praise you, tomorrow they may criticize you. People's opinions are like the wind. They shift with time, emotion, and self-interest. You cannot control what they think or how they behave, but you can control where your heart finds its security. If your sense of self-worth depends on others, you will always live in fear and disappointment. But if your worth comes from Allah's pleasure, you will walk through life with quiet strength, even when the world misunderstands you. There will be moments when people accuse you falsely, twist your words, or judge you unfairly. It hurts, especially when it comes from those you cared for. But in those moments, remember that Allah is Al-Mim, the all-knowing. He knows the truth even if the world refuses to see it. He knows your side of the story without you having to explain it. Sometimes Allah allows people to misunderstand you so that you can learn to stop explaining yourself to everyone. You don't need to prove your innocence to every person. Your Lord already knows. The more you seek His acceptance, the less you will crave theirs. When your heart is sincere, Allah will defend you in ways you could never imagine. You might think you need to fight your own battles, but Allah says in the Qur'an, Allah is sufficient for whoever relies upon Him. When you stay true, patient and kind, despite being wronged, Allah Himself becomes your defender. People may tarnish your name, but Allah will polish your soul. They may try to bring you down, but Allah will raise you up in honor. The truth has a way of surfacing at the right time. So don't waste your energy trying to convince people of your worth. Spend it on strengthening your connection with the one who already knows it. In the story of Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, he was betrayed by his brothers, sold as a slave, and falsely accused by those he served loyally. Yet through every trial, Allah knew his heart. The world labeled him wrongly, but Allah elevated him. People saw him as a prisoner, but Allah saw him as a future leader. His worth did not change with people's perception. It was defined by his faith, patience, and trust in his Lord. When Allah finally honored him, even those who wronged him had to recognize his value. That is how Allah works. He doesn't need people to validate you. He validates you through His blessings, His mercy, and His plan. Sometimes you will be taken for granted. You'll give your best, love sincerely, and support others only to be left out or forgotten. It's painful to feel unseen. But know this, you are never unseen by Allah. He records every good deed, even the ones people overlook. Every act of kindness you do silently. Every time you forgive when you could have retaliated. Every time you hold your tongue to maintain peace, all of it is written down with precision. When people forget, Allah remembers. When they dismiss you, Allah honors you. When they betray you, Allah protects you. That is the reality of being a believer. Your worth is tied to your relationship with your Creator, not with creation. There is great peace in living for Allah's approval instead of people's applause. When you work for His sake, your heart remains stable because He is constant. But when you work for people's attention, your heart becomes restless because they are inconsistent. You begin to feel anxious, always wondering if they like you, if they still support you, if they notice your efforts. That anxiety disappears when you realize that Allah sees you even when no one else does. You start to live with purpose, not performance. You start to act out of sincerity, not for recognition. That is true freedom. Many people lose themselves trying to please others. They bend, change and compromise just to be accepted. But in doing so, they lose the beauty of being authentic. Islam teaches us that the highest form of dignity is to seek only Allah's pleasure. When you do that, you walk with grace even through rejection. You understand that being disliked by people is not a tragedy if you are loved by Allah. You learn that silence can be more powerful than defense, that patience can be more effective than argument, and that humility can bring more honor than pride. Sometimes Allah hides your worth from the world because He wants to protect you. If everyone saw your sincerity, some would envy it. If everyone recognized your goodness, some would exploit it. So He keeps it hidden, reserved for Himself until the right time. The same way a gem is hidden deep within the earth, your worth is hidden in the unseen knowledge of Allah. And just like a gem, the more pressure you endure, the more you shine when the time comes. Never let betrayal convince you that you are unworthy. Never let rejection make you feel insignificant. The way people treat you says more about them than it does about you. Your value is not reduced by someone's inability to see it. If they walk away, it's because Allah is removing those who cannot appreciate your heart. The one who created you has already written your worth, and no human action can erase what Allah has decreed. When you carry that awareness, your heart becomes unshakable. You stop begging for attention, you stop chasing validation, and you start walking with the quiet dignity of someone who knows that Allah is enough. When betrayal enters your life, it often feels like the end. You replay moments in your mind, wondering how something so good could turn into something so painful. You question yourself, your choices, and even your trust in people. But what if betrayal isn't the end? What if it's actually the beginning of something greater that Allah has planned for you? So often, what feels like destruction is in fact a form of divine protection. Allah's plan is always beyond the betrayal. What seems like a loss to you may be the very thing that saves you from a greater harm you cannot yet see. Many times in life, we become attached to people or things we think we cannot live without. We imagine our happiness depends on them. We build our lives around their presence. But Allah, in His infinite wisdom, knows when that attachment is becoming unhealthy. He knows when something or someone begins to take a place in your heart that should only belong to Him. So when betrayal strikes, it is not random. It is Allah's way of detaching you from what could destroy you spiritually. He removes people not to punish you, but to teach you that only He is constant. People may walk away, but Allah never does. There are times when Allah lets you experience heartbreak so that you can be redirected towards something better. You may not understand it now, but every disappointment is preparing you for a greater blessing. The person who left you may have blocked a door you thought you needed, but Allah will open one that leads to peace you never imagined. The job that rejected you, the friend who turned their back, the loved one who betrayed you, each one is a chapter that Allah wrote into your story to guide you toward a deeper faith and stronger heart. You cannot see the full picture now, but one day you will look back and realize that the betrayal that broke you was the turning point that built you. When people betray you, it is easy to become bitter or resentful. Your heart may whisper, "Why me? I was good to them." But perhaps it was precisely your goodness that Allah wanted to protect. Sometimes He removes people not because they are evil, but because they are not meant to accompany you to the next stage of your journey. Their presence would limit your growth or block your blessings. So Allah allows their betrayal to push you forward. It may feel painful, but that pain has purpose. Just as fire refines gold, trials refine the soul. The hurt of betrayal can purify your heart from pride, dependence, and illusion. It strips you of false security until you find safety in Allah alone. Think of the story of Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him. His brothers betrayed him, threw him into a well, and left him for dead. To any human eye, that betrayal was a tragedy, but Allah's plan was greater. From that betrayal came elevation, wisdom, and victory. Yusuf was sold as a slave, imprisoned unjustly, yet every step brought him closer to his destiny. What seemed like a curse was in fact the road to his greatest honor. That is how Allah works. His plans are written with mercy, even when they come wrapped in pain. We see betrayal as a wound, but Allah sees it as surgery, a necessary cut to remove what would harm you. He allows you to feel pain, not to break you, but to cleanse your heart of attachments that were never meant to last. Every betrayal carries within it an opportunity to rely more deeply on your Creator, to renew your trust in His wisdom, and to redirect your heart toward what truly matters. When you say, I can't believe this happened to me, Allah is saying, believe that I have something better for you. Sometimes Allah saves you by taking things away. You might beg for a person to stay, thinking your happiness depends on them. But Allah, in His mercy, lets them go because He knows what you do not. You see the moment, but He sees eternity. You see the pain, but He sees the purpose. What you perceive as rejection is often His redirection. What you interpret as betrayal is His protection. If you could see the unseen, if you could glimpse what Allah is saving you from, you would fall into sujood out of gratitude, not grief. There will be days when you feel lost after betrayal, when the silence of absence feels louder than any words. During those days, hold on to the belief that Allah's plan is never cruel. Every trial you face is designed with wisdom. He never takes something from you unless He intends to replace it with something better, maybe not immediately, but in the way that benefits your soul the most. The problem is, we look for instant relief while Allah is preparing lasting peace. He is shaping your heart to be stronger, more compassionate, and more connected to Him. If betrayal never came, perhaps you would have continued trusting in people more than Allah. If disappointment never struck, perhaps you would have never learned to pray with sincerity. Pain has a way of turning arrogance into humility, forgetfulness into remembrance, and weakness into faith. So even in betrayal, there is mercy. Even in loss, there is love. You just have to look beyond the surface and trust that Allah is working behind the scenes. You are never truly abandoned when people walk away. You are being guided. You are being prepared for the next stage of your life. Allah's plan for you does not end with someone's betrayal. It begins there. Every tear you shed, every silent night you endured, every time you said, Ya Allah, help me, none of it is wasted. Allah collects those moments and turns them into strength, blessings, and wisdom. So when people betray you, instead of asking, why did this happen? Start asking, what is Allah trying to teach me through this? Because the answer to that question will open your eyes to the beauty hidden within the pain. Behind every betrayal is a divine rearrangement, a shift that moves you away from what was temporary and brings you closer to what is eternal. The betrayal that seemed to ruin you may actually be the moment Allah started protecting you more deeply than ever before. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful responses a believer can have after betrayal. It does not mean you forget the pain or pretend it never happened. It means you choose peace over bitterness and trust Allah's justice over your own anger. When people betray you, your heart burns with hurt. You replay their words, their actions, and the moments when you stood by them only to be turned against. The desire for revenge or vindication can feel overwhelming. But Allah reminds us that forgiveness is not a weakness, it is strength. It takes far more courage to forgive than to retaliate. When you forgive for the sake of Allah, you rise above those who hurt you, and Allah raises your status in His sight. There is something incredibly freeing about letting go. When you hold on to anger, it consumes your peace, your energy, and your heart. You carry the weight of resentment everywhere you go, and it becomes a chain that keeps you tied to the very pain you want to escape. But the moment you say, Ya Allah, I leave their matter to you, that chain breaks. You are no longer trapped in their actions. You hand over the responsibility of justice to the one who never forgets and never errs. You stop seeking fairness from people who are unfair, and you begin trusting in the ultimate fairness of your Creator. Forgiveness doesn't mean what they did was okay. It means you acknowledge that Allah is the best judge. You no longer seek revenge because you know that Allah's justice is far more precise than yours. He sees what was said behind closed doors, what was hidden in hearts, and what was intended in actions. You can only judge what you saw. Allah judges what He knows. So when you forgive, you are not letting them win. You are freeing yourself from the burden of hatred. You are saying, I refuse to let what they did destroy my peace or distance me from Allah. When the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was in Ta'if, he was mocked, insulted and stoned by the people until his feet bled. Yet when the angel offered to crush the town between two mountains, he refused. Instead, he prayed for their guidance. That is forgiveness at its highest form, choosing mercy when you have the power to retaliate. He forgave not because they deserved it, but because his heart was filled with compassion and trust in Allah's plan. Through his patience, generations after those who hurt him would embrace Islam. This is the beauty of forgiveness. It doesn't just free you, it transforms the future. When you forgive, you might not feel instant relief. Sometimes your heart still hurts, the memories still sting, and the wound still bleeds. But every time you resist the urge to curse, every time you silence the thought of revenge, and every time you make dua instead, you are healing. You are rebuilding your soul from within. You are telling Allah, I choose your pleasure over my ego. And Allah never lets that choice go unrewarded. The Qur'an promises that those who forgive and make peace will have their reward with Allah. That reward is not only in the hereafter, it's also in this world, in the form of tranquility that no revenge could ever bring. It is easy to think that forgiving means you must reconcile with the person who hurt you. But forgiveness and reconciliation are not the same. You can forgive someone without returning to them. You can release them from your heart without reopening the door to your life. Forgiveness is an internal act between you and Allah. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to justify it. You simply need to mean it. Once you do, you reclaim your power. Because the truth is, holding on to anger gives your betrayer control over your emotions, but forgiveness gives that control back to you. People sometimes mistake forgiveness for weakness, but in reality it is the opposite. The strong person is not the one who can fight or insult back. It is the one who can control themselves in anger. Forgiving doesn't make you naive, it makes you wise. It means you've learned that revenge doesn't heal, it only multiplies pain. When you forgive, you protect your soul from becoming like the one who hurt you. You refuse to let their actions poison your heart. You turn your pain into a means of purification, and Allah loves those who purify themselves. The beauty of forgiving for Allah's sake is that He becomes your defender. You no longer need to prove your side, to argue your case, or to expose anyone. You leave it in His hands, and He handles it better than you ever could. Many times Allah vindicates you in ways you didn't expect. He shows the truth without you having to speak it. He honors you in front of those who once tried to humiliate you. He replaces your tears with blessings and your loneliness with peace. But this happens only when you let go and allow Allah's wisdom to unfold. The act of forgiveness is a form of surrender, but not to people, to Allah. It is saying, I trust you enough to let go. It's acknowledging that He is Al-Adl, the most just, and that His timing is perfect. Sometimes the justice you want is delayed because Allah wants to purify you first. He wants to test whether your faith is strong enough to forgive when you could seek revenge. Every time you choose patience over anger, your rank with Allah rises. Every time you say, I forgive, a part of your heart heals. Forgiveness also transforms how you see life. It teaches you that people's actions do not define your peace. You stop living in reaction to others and start living in devotion to Allah. You understand that what was written for you could never have missed you, and what missed you could never have been written for you. So instead of asking, why did they hurt me? You start asking, what is Allah teaching me through this? That shift changes everything. It turns bitterness into wisdom and pain into faith. So when people betray you, forgive not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Forgive because you believe in Allah's justice more than your anger. Forgive because holding on to resentment only weighs down your soul. And when you do, you'll realize something profound. Those who betrayed you only had power over you until the moment you forgave them. After that, their power ends and Allah's mercy begins. My beloved brothers and sisters, life will never be free from trials, heartbreaks, or betrayal. People will change, they will hurt you, and they will disappoint you. That is part of being human. But through every moment of pain, there is a message from Allah calling you back to Him. When others abandon you, He remains. When hearts turn cold, His mercy still surrounds you. When every door closes, His door is always open. Betrayal is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your return to the one who never betrays. It is a reminder that this world is temporary, that people are imperfect, and that only imperfect. Allah is constant. So when you are broken, turn your pain into prayer. When others define you wrongly, let Allah's knowledge of your heart define you rightly.